logical extension of business is murder.
So rich and crisp. I smell sex all over you.
Violence needs a cause.
It's interesting to be near a man somebody wants to kill.
Your whole waking life is a self-contradiction.
God damn.
I told you. I tried to warn all y'all.
You didn't tell me.
I'm pretty sure I told everybody.
He told me, and I didn't. I was like, "Nah, Leon, you don't even like Cronenberg films that much. I'm the Cronenberg guy. Let me decide if this is any good or not."
I said, "Okay."
Well,
God damn it, Leon.
I've heard enough warnings to where I'm like, all right, maybe I'll just have to find out for myself. Maybe it's one of those movies where everyone hates it, but I really dig it because it's actually trying to say something that everyone's just too stupid to see in between the lines. And man, after seeing it, David Cronenberg, fuck you. Especially after what you said about goddamn Dark Knight Rises. How fucking dare you? How dare you call that fucking movie boring?
The thing he said was, I don't understand why people like these comic book movies like The Dark Knight Rises. They're boring. So I think maybe there was a misinterpretation by what he was saying, where he was like, look, I can make a movie about a self-destructive billionaire much more boring than this one.
Yeah, no, you goddamn right. If anybody should have made that statement, it should have been him. He's an expert on boring. That motherfucker invented boring after watching this movie.
This is one of the most boring fucking things I have ever seen.
And nobody told me, nobody warned me about this. I got up to go see it. I was already up, so it's not like I got up early, but I go to the theater. I'm mad, man. I'm mad after what I had to go through.
I was there. I was pissed off. I had to get up so early to see a movie that early. When you have to see a movie that early, the first thing you're thinking, this movie better be fucking worth it. And I mean,
but see, the thing is, I get up there, I'm hungry and everything, and then I'm told, Hi says, well, the movie's going to be another 20 minutes before it starts. So I'll run back home and take care of an emergency that I have. I'd rush my ass back over there in the car thinking, oh, this is Cronenberg, this is going to be good. And I get there, the movie's still taking time to reel. I go and get a sandwich, come back. I finally sit down and start watching the film, and my day is already pushed back because they started it late. And I'm sitting up there watching these people talking a monotone about absolutely fucking nothing. And then when it's all said and done, they do this to the whole movie up until the final frame. And I walk out of that theater thinking, I just wasted my goddamn time.
Well, you are lucky. All right, you are lucky because the thing is, you got to go, you got to come back home, you got to go eat, you got to do like a whole you had more of a day than I ever did. Because the thing is, I was sitting there and the high goes, okay, sorry people, it's going to be 15 minutes. 15 minutes turns into 30. 30 turns into a goddamn hour. And who's still sitting there like a dumbass? Me. And I'm just like, all right, wow, fucking Cronenberg. You better have like the Avengers Part 2. I mean, I am pissed.
Well, now, it sounds to me like the reason y'all didn't like the movie because you had an attitude.
No, I did.
Things didn't go well for you, and that's what put you off, and so the movie couldn't win.
But Leon
Cyrus and I, we watched it. We talked to the rep. We got sent online screens. We got to watch it from the comforts of our homes.
Yeah, I plug the thing into my television, so I sit back on my couch, watch it with my girl, like, oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be the new David Cronenberg film. He hasn't made a film that looks weird like this since Existence in 1999. I'm like, yeah, Cronenberg back in form. Let's go. What the fuck is this? It's Robert Pattinson, non-acting motherfucker, sitting there just talking in a monotone for was it 2 hours or was it 6?
It was it was 2 hours that felt like 4 years.
One of the big things with this movie is when people say, like, why don't you like Waking Life or The Thin Red Line? It's because it doesn't have a narrative structure. So it's just going along. And there's no feeling of when there's a high and when it's going to slow down or when it's coming to an end. You want to ride with this guy for who knows how long, and there is not one enjoyable moment in the entire thing.
You were in this car. He plays a billionaire in this movie, who is riding in his limousine, just cruising.
That's a badass limousine.
It's a Tron limousine.
TARDIS.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, and when I walked in, like I came in about I don't know, 5 minutes after the movie starts.
So,
you missed the whole thing that explains it.
Yeah, the part you missed was exactly like all the other parts.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You mean I missed important plot points and dialogue?
That first part,
who knows?
That first part really like sets the tone for the. I mean, watching that first 5 minutes, I was already going, fuck. I wish I didn't show up to the screening because I already know how this movie is going to be. I predicted the whole movie just with the first 5 minutes.
Well, Robert Pattinson, I mean, he's in his limousine and he's just
A young billionaire.
He's just and when I first got in there, I looked in there and I'm like, damn, this is a badass limo right here.
That's
it looks
pretty pimp.
It looks like Tron. I mean, there's all kind of
Digital displays.
There's monitors on the door handles and all kind of just analytics happening all around him and shit. And I'm like, man, this is cool. I can ride with this dude for about an hour and a half.
It's something Bruce Wayne would have been like, damn, Jack, where'd you get this pimp ride?
But the thing is,
well, maybe he would have said it that way.
I was about to say, when did
Lucius Fox might have said that.
Yeah, when did Batman turn black? Yo, man, where'd you get this ride from?
That's a bad limo.
Yeah, Batman's on the side, ghost riding the whip and shit. But man, with his cape on and shit. But but I was like, man, I can kind of get what this is. This already looks visually stunning. But as the movie progresses, basically the story itself.
I'm curious to hear the story.
It sounds like it's cool. Rob Pattinson is a billionaire who's cruising in this limo across Manhattan. The president is in town, so he's fighting traffic. But on top of that, there's this anarchist group that throws rats at people.
Yeah, and there's a funeral for a famous musician.
For a famous hip-hop artist.
Yeah.
And while
And it's the whole Occupy Wall Street, take them to the 13th level.
Yeah. But while he's riding along, his wealth is declining. I mean, it's at a rapid pace. Well, he's on his way to a barber. By the time he gets to that barber shop, he ain't going to have no money to pay for that haircut.
Well, seriously, he's stopping along the way to pick up apparently anybody. I don't know, just random people to get in the car of like some minor celebrities, some people you're like, I don't know who the fuck that is. He talks to them about stuff that I don't understand. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, I have a fucking clue what they're talking about. And then if they're female, he has sex with them.
Yeah,
and then he moves on to the next person.
I was like, is this guy fucking David Letterman in a limo? I mean, yeah, because with all these special guests, you're like, who are these people and why are they just hanging out in the limo? How do they get in the fucking limo while the thing's driving?
And it's funny, too,
every so often it stops to have his bodyguard Kevin Durant say like, "Hey, I think maybe we should turn back, or this is kind of dangerous." No, we'll keep going.
Yeah,
All
no,
right, we'll keep going.
and you know what? You think it would be cool because as he's losing his fortune, he's slowly going into a self-decline. He's losing his mind away. But you would never tell because he just continuously talks like this. And when they get in the car, you're right, Cole, there's all these people that get in the car. I don't know who, you're right, I don't know who the fuck these people are, but somehow he knows them. Like, he just looks out the window, sees a woman jogging, and she gets in the car, and apparently that's some financial advisor that they get in there and they start talking about all the dialogue in this movie as if they were talking about a combination of pseudo-little intellectual bullshit combined with Wall Street stock market reports, and it absolutely means nothing.
Where's your car?
We can't seem to find it.
I'd offer you a ride.
I couldn't. Absolutely. I know you work en route. And I like taxis. I was never good at geography, and I learned things by asking the drivers where they come from.
They come from horror and despair.
Yes, exactly. One learns about the countries where unrest is occurring by riding the taxis here.
If this was being told to you in some sort of, if you had a lecture and a professor was doing it, it would be the most boring lecture you would be in, except every now and then the professor or the lecturer would try to make it interesting by stabbing somebody in the eye.
Or fucking one of the students.
Or fucking one of the students, or shooting himself in the hand. But did you notice that there's violence, there's blood, there's nudity, all kind of crazy shit in this movie. There's even some crazy visuals. But this movie has managed to suck the life out of all that shit. I ain't never seen a pair of titties and yawned like I did in this movie.
It was so everything felt so artificial. Even the acting felt artificial.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, these actors are really struggling because in a way, it's like they might as well be, I mean, even though they're interacting with each other, they might as well be fucking interacting with a goddamn brick wall. Or you know, it made me think about how in the Star Wars movies, how actors react to a green screen when there's nothing there. I was like, wow, this is the first movie where there is somebody there, yet these people still can't manage to communicate with each other in a human fashion that you can identify with.
The Star Wars did that was the thing I was thinking about, because it's funny, because I'm sure that for Robert Pattinson, he's like, well, everyone says I can't act, but I'm going to be in a Cronenberg movie. Well, I'll show them the chops
You
I have.
picked the wrong movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because as far as I can tell, you still ain't got shit. It's funny. Like, Cronenberg likes to take on really famously difficult projects.
Yeah.
He did Naked Lunch, a book that people always said was unfilmable. He did Crash, another one people were like, no, there's no point in even trying to make a movie of it. It'd be impossible. And this is another one. It's based on a novel. It came out in 2003 that was supposed to be a reinterpretation of James Joyce's Ulysses, which is one of those books that's supposed to be unfilmable. But the thing about Ulysses, it also has like weird, stilted, strange dialogue. Like, people just don't talk to each other like that, right?
Yeah.
And this is apparently the same way. Like, even the book was criticized when it came out.
Oh yeah,
like, what the fuck is wrong? This author was really well known. Put out this thing. Everyone's like, man, the style and tone of this thing is kind of fucked.
Yeah, from when I understand, like, people like the way he writes, but the story with this book, they were like, wow.
Yeah, the author
he blew it.
The author's Don DeLillo.
Yeah.
Somebody who I've never heard of and won't probably hear of after this, because I don't care about what the fuck he's writing.
Well, it's like many said it could not be done, and others said they knew it. But David Cronenberg tried what could not be done.
Well,
this movie couldn't bloody do
That's
it.
the thing with, like, when you look at, like, the Naked Lunch or Existenz or something like that are so weird, and people don't talk to each other the way people talk to each other in those movies either, but they're so relentlessly, interestingly strange that you're like, okay, I'm with this. These are fun, because a lot of crazy shit's going on. Well, this is just a dude sitting in a limousine.
I don't know what they're trying to say here. They're trying to say something about the 1%, but they're also trying to say something about this particular generation, and how I guess there's no passion there, and the only passion that people seem to have is this search for. Why am I even trying to make shit? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
They're trying to say,
Yeah.
but completely failing, because, as Koa said, you get so lost in this mishmash of back and forth communications. I mean, I was tempted to say, let's try and review this movie like they talk in that movie. We'll be like, well, Cosmopolis, it's like watching a movie, but remember that movie that you saw once that wasn't like Cosmopolis? Don't you remember, co-host, you said that once? There was that time we all spoke fondly of a movie like Cosmopolis, and that is why I don't like Cosmopolis.
I wish you would start talking like that. I would.
Well, it's like you can't decide on whether they want you to, like, hate the guy or feel something for him. And either way, I'm just like, I feel nothing but the need to escape and do something else.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially at the embarrassing ending where they want you to feel emotion.
Oh, exactly.
And you're like, are you serious? You really want me to give a shit what happens to this guy one way or the other?
And it's, you know what? I don't like to toss this word around much. I'll hold off. But I think I can use the P word now. This movie is pretentious. Pretentious to that point of just being, completely boring. And hey, man, if you're on that intellectual level where this plays to you, God bless you.
Look, my biggest question is, who the fuck watched this movie before it was released and said, yeah, we're going to put this in theaters? And think that this would be interesting to anybody?
David Cronenberg.
Well, David Cronenberg did, but who was the one that said after him? Who was the guy that was sitting in an executive's chair watching a screening of this and being like, yeah, you know what? I think we can make money with this.
I think that's the guy who gave up, who realized that, you know what, you have your own niche audience. This movie is so far out there that I think when they took it to cons, I'm pretty sure they were expecting some kind of odd reaction, because you can only really show a movie like this in cons and have people appreciate it, because people are so involved with their own bullshit, especially a lot of these reviewers who I know have been giving this movie praise, to where if you were to read the review, I'm sure the review would probably be like a thesis trying to deconstruct what this movie really is, and therefore giving themselves credit as being above you, as far as this is something that it's not for the general audience. This is for people who like to think on such a high level that, you know, we the small percentage will appreciate it.
Yeah,
that's great. That's great. You know, they make things for those people. They're called books. This is not this should never have been a movie. It was, I mean, I could see there's lots of difficult writers like Umberto Eco, a writer I love, but you got to sit and puzzle over his prose sometimes. That's fine. But in a fucking movie, it's moving along. What am I supposed to keep rewinding it and looking shit up? Fuck you.
When I'm in the theater, I want to be entertained. If you're gonna throw 2 hours at me, entertain me in the slightest bit. The films were made to tell stories. At least that's what I used to remember them.
Well, that's not every movie.
That's the old mode of thinking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
David Lynch,
I'm sorry.
He's past
Cronenberg.
He's bored. Oh, yeah. I keep making
But
that
I guess
mistake.
Lynch too.
Yeah,
for-
Cronenberg.
Maybe because you want to lynch David Cronenberg. That's why you said that.
His stories are boring to him. He's moved on. See, Corey, I think like the whole thing of why would somebody put this out and distribute this? You're overthinking it. I think it came down to being in a room and there was like a shell game. There's 2 shells, and they both contain movies that were about billionaires who were losing their fortune on a self-destructive path, and they had to choose. But one of them starred Batman, and whoever got this one went fuck.
Batman. This seems like the movie. Like if you were trying to make sense of this movie, it's like if Bruce Wayne fucking like did a bunch of bath salt, and all of a sudden he became fucking homeless. And these conversations with these people in this limousine are the crazy. It's the crazy. It's the whole schizophrenia manifesting into people in a limousine.
Yeah, none of it's
trying to make sense
happening.
trying to make sense of this crazy world that they've been living.
Well, I mean, I say who is this movie made for? I mean, I know who this movie is made for. I love when this kind of movie comes out. I don't love being there. I don't love watching it. I don't love feeling like I'm trapped in this fucking limousine with this guy and I can't get out because believe me, I ain't even. There was a point where I just rolled out my chair trying to get the fuck out that car. I was like, please let me out. But I know who this movie is made for. This and you hit it, co-host. It's made for those fucking egghead critics out there. And I'm being unfair. Yeah, I'm criticizing people who like something different from me. Maybe I'm the one that, fuck you and your goddamn egg-headed fucking approach to this kind of fucking movie right here. Because this is the kind of movie that fools people like that. This is the movie that dude who walks out of this movie talking about it was deeply visually immersive and dreamlike in its logic and in what it was trying to say about this generation's approach to wealth and non-complacent.
Hey, leave Cyrus alone.
You know what? You are the guy
I'm on his side on this one.
No, you know what I'm talking about. You were the motherfucker who comes out. You didn't know what the fuck was happening. Yeah. You didn't like this movie. I'm gonna tell you about yourself. You didn't like this movie. You didn't know what they were saying.
Well,
but you know what? You were scared to come out and say that because the movie confused you, and you thought, well, shit, if I don't get it, it must be a smart movie. I don't want to be the one that looks like a dumbass.
The shocking aspect of that is that you're going to see these reviewers go, and a shockingly incredible performance by Robert Pattinson. Wow, you have been duped.
We were in the theater with, and Coles, I don't know if you heard it, but those people who I'm talking about, there's a whole, and those fuckers were all in the same row. And some of them might even be friends of mine, but fuck you. I don't give a damn. Today I'm going to talk shit about you. I'll shake your hand tomorrow. But this is the kind of movie where the shit that it's not funny. There's certain things that they say in there where it's supposed to be amusing, but it's not in the context of what you have here because it's just like everything else. It's made boring by what we're given. But when they said something that was supposed to be funny, there's a whole row of fucking geeks back there, and I just want to go to the back and just run down the row and slap all of them. The movie is not devoid of anything that's good. I still think it's a shitty film, but there's certain things in there that would have worked had it been a different film visually. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there as Robert Pattinson is cruising his limousine. That is dreamlike. That is kind of visually stunning for about 15 minutes after you've seen it all. The other thing is
it could have worked as a short.
But yeah, of course it could have. The other thing is that I know you guys didn't like Robert Pattinson. I felt bad for him because I thought this is a guy where if he didn't have that dialogue and that added to that stilted acting that everybody does in this movie, I think that he would be able to show that he is a good actor. I think he's a good actor. I'm like you. I'm like, God damn, man, you really
can't win for losing.
You really. I mean, this is the wrong project for you to try to break out with because I mean, this was supposed to actually go to, you probably know, this was supposed to go to Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And Colin Farrell said, fuck that. I'm going to Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Yeah, it's like, good call, brother.
Yeah. I think he's actually, he shows promise in this. It's just a movie where the only people who really going to probably come check this out are people who find this movie deep and engaging when it's really not, and are, as you said, Cyrus, those those Twilight fans who are going in expecting something else like what they're used to.
Those Twihards are going to be twi confused.
Much more entertaining movie would be a movie like interviewing those people when they came out of the theater all pissed off.
I'd be one of them. I want to be outside going, I know now why fucking Kristen Stewart dumped his ass because she had to sit through this fucking movie.
I mean,
You're so boring.
Maybe it'll be enough for them that there's a whole scene with him getting a prostate examination while talking sexy to some chick in the limo, which is one of the more distressing things I've had to sit through this month. But I don't think it will be somehow.
But even that's boring.
Yeah, that felt like Cronenberg was trying to put his staple on it in some ways.
Oh, we gotta
I
do
still
something-
have to remind people that this is my movie.
Yeah.
So let's have a scene where people are uncomfortable or actually they're getting aroused by the scene.
So why don't you make some body horror, motherfucker, and stop doing all this boring shit?
Yeah, I was expecting, Cronenberg, in every one of his, we all know if you're a Cronenberg fan, he's obsessed with, he has this almost a fetish for human flesh doing weird things. And this is not the movie that really does that. I was like, when is...
Well, sure. he made human flesh sit in a movie for an hour and 45 minutes.
That was pretty weird and disturbing.
just a lump of flesh talking the whole time.
Vomiting word shit out of his mouth.
You wait for that. You're like, when is...
He made this movie just to film audiences, and that'll be his next movie.
Yeah.
Well, I was waiting on when is Robert Pattinson's face gonna crawl off? When is his ears gonna start talking or something?
His eyebrows are going to crawl away. They might do that anyway. To be fair.
I think the flesh of my feet start crawling already. Like, man, if you ain't leaving, I'm going. But yeah, it's funny because I see Robert Pattinson as showing promise because he's an up and coming actor. He's a guy who's trying to break away. But you have more accomplished actors in this and actresses who this movie makes them. This is one of those rare films where you take actors and actresses who are very good at what they do, and this makes them look like they just got out of acting school at the community college. I mean, there's so many people in this movie that I like. Samantha Morton, I like Juliette Binoche. You know what? I love Kevin Durant, man, and I'm praying for this guy to always. Kevin Durant, you've seen him because he's always playing a big, strong guy.
Yeah,
and
he was the one of the main villains on Lost.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was one of the villains on Lost. I mean,
and Real Steel.
But he's
things.
when he gets in a movie that actually shows that he has acting ability instead of just being a big old fathead muscle guy. Those movies don't really do all that well, and this is one of those movies where I'm like, man, they give my man some intelligent dialogue, and
he got such short shrift in this.
Too bad it don't mean shit.
Yeah. Because he's playing the same role that other guys that look like him have played before, to where he starts becoming lost in obscurity as well.
One thing that confused me, I honestly, you were saying, Corey, you were more forgiving of Pattinson's performance, but I don't know if is there an intentional thing I missed, but he kept changing his accent in this movie. Sometimes it was very clipped and proper, and other times he was talking like he was from the borough. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
You're right. No, you're right. I noticed that too.
I imagine that was like, he was actually from wherever.
New York.
From the borough.
Yeah, but he would go back and forth. If he had just kept to one.
Sure, but the idea is that, once he rose up, he became affected.
Yeah, that's the way I kind of saw it.
I saw it as kind of awkward transitions. There's no rhyme or reason for him moving back and forth.
Ain't no rhyme or reason for anything in this goddamn movie.
There was times he was just trying to be street.
Ain't no rhyme and reason. There's no rhyme and reason for me even being there watching that movie, but I was there.
When the rapper gets in the car, he's like, "Yeah, what up, dog?" He's like, "Shut up."
It feels so goddamn forced, and I'm forced to watch it, and I hated it.
Yeah, no, man, this is a film where, like I said, I can see why people were in it. I can see why some people like it, as full of shit as they are.
Fuck those people.
Yeah, I can even see
see why you like it, but you're an asshole.
You come to me, I told Leon earlier today, I said, this movie made me angry, man. And and it's not because I had an attitude because the movie started late. I would have been more than happy to go in there and say, well, wow, that was worth the trouble, but it was not. But I told Leon today, I said, shit, the way I feel today after walking out of that movie, I better not even see Cronenberg walking down the street, man. He better turn around, walk the other way, or go on the other side of the sidewalk, because this movie, I felt like it was a film, whatever aspirations it had, I can see why David Cronenberg would even be attracted to this kind of material. when I saw the trailer for this, I was excited. If I'd read this book and knew that David Cronenberg was going to direct it, I'd probably be losing my mind right now. But the fact remains is that, and I just can't see it. And this is where my prejudice is coming in. This is where I'm being very intolerant. I don't see how a movie that's an hour and a half long of nothing but constant babble, which is under the guise of some sort of intellectualism, is seen as a good film. I don't understand you. Don't want to talk to you right now. This movie, when I walked to my car, this is when I realized how much I hated this film. When I got to my car and I was talking to myself and saying, "What the fuck did I just see? Wasting my goddamn time." I'm like, Jesus Christ, they have me talking to myself now. I would close with this. If you had, don't worry about trying to be smart. Don't worry about trying to appeal to anybody as being some intellectual. Save your money. Go down to the college campus, to the coffee shop, and listen to two freshmen sit at a table and try to sound smart talking some intellectual shit. You will be able to save your money, and you will also be able to walk away anytime you like without feeling like you wasted anything except that 5 minutes that you heard these two fucking assholes try to say whatever it is they're trying to say.
Listen to the homeless guy who always shows up when you're at the coffee shop trying to sell you his bullshit, then ask for money for it, just like Cronenberg just did. Listen to that motherfucker, and he'll tell you that he'll pretty much recite this movie more than likely, dude.
Oh yeah, no, I'm giving this movie. I'm giving it a fuck you. This movie. Yeah.
Are you guys shocked? Halloween's coming early.
I gotta say that I'm having a shameful enjoyment watching y'all, because I got to go through it first, and I'm just sitting there like, wow, is it just me that hates this movie and struggling to get through?
And why did you tell them and not tell me?
I thought I told all
You were
y'all.
gonna go see it anyway. You were. You would have been the same
what?
thing.
If I told you, you might have skipped. You might have found a reason to skip.
You know what I would have done?
What?
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have been like, you know how I am.
I was holding coffee.
Well, Leon likes terrible movies, and he doesn't know a good one when he sees it. I'm gonna check this out because I'm not gonna agree with him. So you're right. You know what?
That's what he thinks of you.
I'm just being honest, brother, as a friend. You're right. I can't be too mad at you because I would have went to see it anyway. I would have went to see it despite you.
Well, and there you go.
And there I go. So I deserve.
And you got burned.
I deserve everything I get.
I don't want to put down, in intelligence, because there's plenty of that going on in this country, or even intellectualism, because you know what? There's not a lot of movies like this, and I will give it that. Maybe it is operating on a higher plane than I think, and I'm just not able to catch up with it, and that's okay too. Unfortunately, there's way more wrong with this than that. The thing is, it's trying to make a statement which it completely undercuts by being so exaggerated and ridiculous. You can't attach yourself to any of it, really, intellectually or emotionally. Even if intellectually you follow it, I can't imagine that for more than 15 minutes, even those people don't start to get bored with it and go, all right, whatever. I mean, if you have a craving to see something so completely different, I guess knock yourself out. But there's just not anything genuinely enjoyable in it. Maybe the look of it, at first the look of it made me go like, hey, this does remind me of Existenz. I have hope. But those hopes are quickly dashed. And like, as my comparison to Waking Life and The Thin Red Line, it just goes. There's no feeling of where it's going or when it's going to end. And after a while, it starts to, at least for me, I started to get scared. I was like, what if this never ends? What if this just keeps going?
Yeah, you were like, am I dead? Did I fuck up?
What if I had a heart attack in my seat and this is purgatory right here?
Right.
Cronenberg created your purgatory.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, seeing Juliette Binoche in it, besides the fact that, she's in a sex scene. And so once I realized it's her, I was like, oh, man, I don't see her enough. And I don't want it to be in stuff like this. It just makes me feel bad for her. I won't go so far as a fuck you, but it's definitely some old bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much everything you just said. I mean, you know me too. I not only love David Cronenberg.
Oh yeah.
I think there's only 2 movies by him I haven't loved: Spider and Dangerous Method. I didn't care for either one of those films, but both of them in his more recent stock of stuff. But I love Cronenberg films. I love really challenging films. I tend to love really intelligent films that asks its audience to do some of the work. There's a lot of movies that are very non-linear, that are not telling a traditional narrative that I still totally love to pieces anyway.
What if it asks an audience not to get up and run out the theater? That's not challenging enough.
That's too much of a challenge.
This movie's got to come with locked seatbelts.
And a straight jacket.
Because I couldn't blame anybody from walking out of here. The problem is that you just don't give a shit. There's not, you say it's like, at one point I think you said it was stunning imagery, and I never felt that way. I thought, this is interesting looking, and it had that sort of cold existence filming look. I wouldn't be surprised if they used the same sort of film stock or cameras or what have you. I don't know, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised. But it just is not enough interesting there, except for saying, man, I want to ride in that limo to carry you. Certainly not with Robert Pattinson there, because I'd be like, it's watching these people talk, and it wasn't even so much that I didn't completely understand what they were talking about, so much as it was impossible to focus on what they were talking about, because it was had nothing to do with anything I could identify with nothing I gave a shit with not the way that people talk to each other. There's not a single character in here that you have the slightest amount of empathy or feeling or even interest in what's going to happen to them at all. I mean, I don't know what the hell they were thinking with this. I really don't.
They don't know what they were thinking.
I can't go so far as once again as a fuck you, because like I said, I want to take my hat off at least for making a challenging film, and certainly there's got to be somebody out there who's going to look at me and go, "You're stupid. I can't believe you didn't get it." Fine, maybe I am. I'm gonna eat that. You know, like I tell you. Well, at least it'll be tasty, unlike this piece of shit. This is some old bullshit.
I'll be that guy. You're stupid. You don't know. You don't get it.
Okay, explain it to us, co-host.
Oh God, there's nothing to explain.
Oh, you're going to give it a full price? Okay.
I'll explain one thing. Usually when I get into a limo, I'm going to some place where I really fucking want to be, and it's a fucking party the whole way there. This is the complete opposite of that. This is like Bizarro World of getting into a limo, to where nothing is, I mean, there's a lot of talk, lot of nothing going on with dialogue that just it seems like it's just dialogue that's trying to impress the most pseudo-intellectual person in the theater, and I say fuck you to that. I mean, this film is like a Tower of Babel. It's like word Jenga. And the thing is, Cronenberg and I were playing, and I fucking lost. I lost the worst way, because every goddamn piece of that Jenga thing fell on my fucking head. So I mean, I was really going, man, I feel like I'm losing my mind. It is like sitting on the street having a crazy homeless guy that used to go to Yale talk your fucking ear off for almost 2 hours.
So it's the Jenga Tower of Babel.
Yeah, it is the Jenga Tower. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's exactly that in the worst way. I mean, wow. When you're making a film, you're always hoping that whatever point you're trying to get across, when you do a film, you want to get it across to a mass audience that hopefully understands it. I don't understand the thinking of putting a movie out like this, to try to even fool yourself that people are going to understand your statement with this movie. And for me, I mean, in the worst way, it is the biggest fuck you, to where I want to get into a Batman suit, chase fucking David Cronenberg down the street, fucking beat his head in, and go, am I still fucking boring? I mean, wow. This probably is, it's one of those movies to where I put it in the range of like Showgirls, to where I think the intentions were great, but it manifested into something that was way worse. Just something that is now, I'm hoping as time goes on, it's going to be one of those embarrassing movies that people are going to look at and go, wow, can you believe that somebody tried to distribute this fucking thing?
No, because it's a story about a long ride where anything can happen, and yet everything that does happen is completely uninteresting.
Or like makes no sense. Like, why would that even? Never mind. I don't even care, honestly.
Enough already.
It's funny, listening co-host, I'm like, well, I agree with you. It's a terrible film. I can't help but feel like you were just reviewing the fact that Cronenberg didn't like The Dark Knight Rises more than the movie.
Future becomes insistent. Something will happen soon. Maybe today.
There's still so much tracking you. I'm looking for more. Show me something I don't know.
Destroy the past. Make the future.
Everything in our lives has brought us to this moment.